All right, welcome back. Today's Monday, February 23rd. It's 11:22 p.m. Off to a little late start again tonight, as usual. Um, we're going to discuss our Amber Alert cases, and then, as promised, we'll be discussing the JonBenet Ramsey case. First of all, I'd like to welcome Deborah and Kevin back to the show. Hi, guys.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Brian.
Okay, so how you guys doing? Good? Bad?
I'm doing great. How are you doing tonight?
I'm tired. We just had a really busy day, and we went to the what do you call it, midwife stuff. My wife had a checkup and stuff like that. It looks like everything's fine, but we got to do an ultrasound on tomorrow or the next day just to make sure. But other than that, been another busy day. I got 5 hours of sleep. I'm still able to do 2 cases, but
I got 18 hours.
Well, I'm sure you feel great tonight, so you go ahead and take over.
So all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You take over then.
Did you take Alice back to the doctor today too?
Yeah, I took them. Yeah, I took everybody with me. We were waiting outside. They ran around and played. And Allison was crazy.
How's her eye?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Actually, it did not get black and blue. There was just a little cut right about here. But no. So it looks fine. I could have sworn it was going to be black and blue, but it wasn't. Okay, so let's start things off with Adji Desir. Everybody knows about this case, hopefully. We opened it on January 14th. We do now have a website dedicated for him, which is findadji.com. It should be below his picture on the left right there. Deborah, do we have any news for him today?
Actually, nothing new has been happening. The latest that has happened is that America's Most Wanted filmed on Friday, and they'll be featuring it this Saturday. And they are shown, the America's Most Wanted show appears on Fox, and it comes on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. Once again, I want to encourage everybody to please go to the website and register if you have any additional information or any ideas of how we can promote the word. Please let us know. We're always happy to assist you. Okay, so we brought that up. Let's go on to the next Amber Alert, which is Haleigh Cummings. Picture right there. Now, what's the news on this case, Deborah?
Well, all along we've had inconsistencies, and it seems like people aren't telling the truth. Stories change. I mean, finger pointing, all kinds of stuff. This one is basically blowing into a Jerry Springer episode.
Okay.
Which could be one reason why it gets so much attention. A lot of people like to watch that. But it still keeps Haleigh, out there, her picture and her information, and people seeing.
Okay, so what's the latest gossip then?
Her mother, Crystal, biological mother, is engaged to her stepbrother by marriage.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that sweet?
And does that have anything to do with her disappearance, though, or is that just...
No,
just
like most of the other stuff doesn't.
Okay.
But that's what people want, so that's what they get.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that you could dig up a lot of things on anybody, but yeah, that is a little weird, even for me being in West Virginia. But
you know that that's acceptable where you come from.
Yeah, it is.
No, in most places.
Yeah, but my wife is not my sister. I promise you guys. Okay, might be cousin. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's the latest news that about Haleigh. Any searches that are still going on? TES, or are they still around?
There's been some, but there's not like there was.
Okay. And
what I've been able to find. They did have a vigil, and of course, Geraldo was banned from there, and that's pretty much the latest.
Okay. Are the police asking for anything, though? Are they asking anything the police come out and made any statements like, we need you to do this or that or anything like that?
Well, they still have the tip line open.
Well, yeah.
They want people to submit tips. From what I've been able to find out so far, they have not been calling for, a bunch of help for searching or anything like that. From what I've learned, they want people being aware, calling tips if you know anything, and that's kind of where it is right now.
Okay. The parents allowed back in the house yet?
Not that I have been able to find out, not in the latest reports.
Okay. Kevin, were you able to find anything out? Anything new that we haven't discussed?
As far as you're talking about the JonBenet Ramsey case?
No, Kevin. Haleigh and Ray Cummings.
No, negative. No, I only have information on the JonBenet Ramsey case.
Okay. No problem. Oh, come on, dog. Okay. Moving on. I wanted to bring up something really quick. I'm going to find it right here. Okay, this is case number 659. Kinsley had brought this to my attention today, along with Deborah. Get a picture up right there. Okay, case 659. Catherine Lique. Is that how you pronounce it?
I pronounce it Lique myself,
Lique?
but that's
Okay.
just me.
All right, the case was requested to be open on January 29th, or January 23rd of this year. I had posted some information, and that was that. I think we got to the request pretty quickly. And then the person that asked for the request wrote some pretty negative comments in the forum.
Actually, that was a MySpace bulletin.
Okay. Oh, okay. Great. So, I posted the comments in the case. Per requested, I removed the images and stuff. Basically, it says, well, I mean, you guys can read it. It's in the case file. If, for some reason, you have the misfortune of coming across Brian's dreams or Brian's predictions, come and see where he did a DD on my mom. Please disregard this guy as a phony. He did the thing, said he was able to find the location. We printed it out and went to the area. I looked on his site a few days later, and he had changed it to say he was unable to find the location. What BS? I had printed the I guess that's edited version saying he was able to find the location. He then locked me out of the forum, so I couldn't ask questions. Both him and his assistant Deborah refused to answer my emails. It's so weird. I had asked him to take her off his ridiculous website, and yet she's still there. I'm sorry, this is really spaced out, so I'm trying to put these letters together. Available to mislead people on a daily basis. Okay. Well, hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Okay.
If I posted something, and the posts are right there, and it says I was unable, and that might have said it might have said able. Okay, whatever. That may have been edited because it was incorrect. Everything I post on my website is public for a reason. It's for a reason. If I knew any type of location, I would have definitely made that public. And before I just heard about this today. I don't ban people from the forums. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to get into that. I did this work, and then you come back and post something like that, saying something like that without even really contacting me. You're saying you're unable to, contact me. Well, that's not true. Okay, you might think that. That's not true. What you're saying makes no sense at all. When I post something, I do it for a reason. Okay, if I was able to find something, it would have been there. So there would have something been updated. Have you read my cases, or is this the only one you're looking at? Either way, I removed the images and I removed the case. Deborah, what did you want to say about that?
I wanted to state that I had a lot of correspondence with this person. Answered repeated emails, worked with them quite a bit, did give you the case very promptly early on, right after I got it, within a matter of a few days, even though it wasn't a really super recent case. it was able to take a priority at the time based on, the cases and how, you want them done as far as children and more recently missing being done first. Then as soon as the case was posted immediately, I remember asking you if there was a typo, because if you even come up with a state or a city or anything, much less a more unique location, you put a map up. When I saw that, I asked you if it was a typo.
Right.
I didn't ask where.
No, I don't remember changing that, but I do that all the time. I shouldn't have to justify myself on this, but this is completely ridiculous. It doesn't even make any sense, even if it said able, which it may have said. There's nothing on the case file to show. There's no location. So I mean, when I come up with a location, I give it a location. It's there. So instead of contacting me for whatever, apparently maybe they tried. I didn't know. I don't. But all I'm saying is that if you don't want me to do the work, don't request it. Okay.
They did continue to contact Brian, and
okay.
I answered those requests. And as soon as you posted the case, they had questions. They wanted to know where the location was. I explained in detail in many different ways.
Right. Well, maybe that's a misunderstanding. I'm not holding back any information. This is why it's public. Otherwise, it'd be private. I'm not holding anything back. That's what I'm saying. And so
the other thing requested right away was an additional RV, and I'm sorry, but we've talked about this on broadcast before, and I did explain this, is doing them back to back like that, you usually don't get new information, but more importantly than that, depending on the request, and I don't think everyone realizes how many they are, as far as the requests go, we have to go by the criteria of prioritizing the cases. And it takes time to get redos. And this person continually kept asking for it, and there was more important priorities.
Right. Either way, if I'm a phony or whatever, that's fine. Believe what you want, okay? But please don't waste my time. I mean, we do this stuff for free, okay? Don't. If you're gonna, just please. If you're not gonna take, let's move on. Anyways,
okay.
Case closed. The images are off the server. Okay, so we're moving on.
I would like to add something. Yeah. I did just get a message from Kinsley and regarding Haleigh. Mm-hmm. Now, I had looked and I hadn't seen this, so I apologize for that. There was an arrest made today. I'm not sure who that is. And
oh, okay. Well, that's different then.
Right. And they did haul the father and fiance. I'm assuming that must be Misty in for questioning again. So I tried looking in the form, and I was not able to get into the case file.
Okay. Then that means to me.
Chad.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm thinking though. Going along with this might be good news. If I didn't mean to cut you off, but if this is what I think it is, then I think maybe we're going to see Haleigh pretty soon, and hopefully a lot. And I'm guessing a lot.
This would be Chad, the biological mother's fiance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I have that correct now.
Okay.
That would be Crystal's fiance.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got more questioning going on.
Good news. Let's get guys, Kinsley's a little under the weather right now. Thank you, Kinsley, for watching the show. We appreciate it. Go back to sleep. We'll do the link in the morning. Okay. You go back to sleep, please. Okay, well that's good. Let's get those links up there for that one. To me, that's good news. I know you were wondering maybe why, but I think that might be good news. And I really hope it is good news. But an arrest would be good for me, at least. Okay, so we talked about this, and we finally gotten around to it. This is not a missing person case. This is actually in the Dream. The Dream. What's the section called, Deborah? It's just additional remote viewing dream drawing section.
Public dream viewings, I believe.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I can't say yeah without actually looking. Yeah, public dream viewings. That's the name of the section. This would be number 137, and I opened it on August 20th of 2006. This is the 1996 murder of 6-year-old JonBenet Patrick Ramsey. Get a picture up here. Beautiful little girl here. 6 years old. Murdered. No, Gail's contact. Gail sent me something. Gail St. John will be on the show with me too, guys. Not tonight, but she does plan on coming out. Okay, before we start this, Deborah and Kevin, you guys have some information on this case. I know it's really nothing new, but let's, in case everybody's not really up to speed on this case, let's get that information out there. So, Deborah.
Okay, pulling it up. Yeah, this has been a strange one. A lot of accusations, a lot of different things happened. I think there was a lot of blame thrown around, especially on the parents. And it took a really long time for them to be cleared and them to be apologized to for that. But I know everybody pretty much knows what this case is, but
well, actually, a lot of people don't. I mean, I didn't at the time. My wife actually asked me to do this. I was actually stationed over in Korea, but not everybody knows. Can you sum it up real quick?
Yeah, I'll do the best I can
Okay.
here. JonBenet was 6 years old when she was murdered.
Okay.
This happened on Christmas Day in 1996 in her home in Boulder, Colorado. They did not realize that something had happened to JonBenet by finding her body. It didn't happen that way. They realized she was missing. And it took later on into the afternoon and finding her in a wine cellar, finding her body underneath a white blanket. That was about 8 hours after they reported her missing that they located her down there. And it was her father and one other person that did that. So, there was some suspicion thrown with that too. There was a ransom note left, and, that has not been proven to be from a legitimate person. And what you've come up with, and, I believe what, most are thinking, and, what's happened is that was written by her mother. And one of the odd things was the ransom was for $118,000, the same amount as one of her father's bonuses that year. JonBenet had a unique life, being in beauty pageants, and, if you look at pictures of her, she doesn't look like a 6-year-old child. There were a lot of stones thrown on that one, about the kind of life she was put into. When they're that young, it's, in most cases, it happens because of a parental decision, and, they don't make those choices for themselves. So she looks like, she looks a lot older, but I highly doubt she ran around looking like that in her off time. I said before, my daughters dance. They're dancers. And, from the time they were just a couple years old, hair done up, painted makeup on, when they're on stages, they'll look like Casper if you don't do it. I wish that there were some pictures out there of JonBenet that were not full of the makeup person, but that's okay. She got a lot of titles. To begin with, the Boulder police were handling it. They took a lot of heat because they did not secure the crime scene right away. They didn't take forensic evidence right out of the gate like they should have, even prior to JonBenet being found in the basement of the home in the wine cellar. Also, that they were letting a lot of friends run in and out of the residence before she was located and after the body was located. So that was a problem. After some time went on, the case ended up going over to district attorneys and prosecutors. It's recently gone back to the Boulder Police Department, and they're trying to work it, at this point. The parents were suspect. I would like to state that her mom, Patsy Ramsey, passed away in the year 2006. And shortly after this happened in Colorado,
real quick, did she pass away because of breast cancer, or was it something else?
I'm not exactly sure on that. I tried to do more looking on the other stuff.
Okay.
I knew, about JonBenet's case.
Okay, that's fine. I'll look at it.
But not as much, so that I'm not sure on.
Okay.
But they basically thought that, the Boulder police didn't do what they were supposed to do, and, maybe they could have done more and taken care of things properly. There was a point where there was DNA testing done They did try running it through CODIS, and it belongs to an unknown name. That was in 2003. From mixed blood sample found on JonBenet's underwear, they were able to make a DNA profile. And in the CODIS database at that point, there was over 1.6 million profiles, a lot of them from convicted felons. But they still can't find a match to that. They did find out that there was more than 100 burglaries in JonBenet's neighborhood in the prior months to her being murdered, and that there were 38 registered sex offenders living within 2 miles of where she did. There was the point where, it was actually in August of '06, John Mark Carr confessed to murdering her after he was busted on child pornography charges. Now, he did not get charged with it. It turned out to be a lie, and his DNA did not match. At this point, it was actually on February 2nd that it was announced that the Boulder police are taking this case back. I think that's wonderful, because this case, has gone on for a really long time, and hopefully with the Boulder police taking it back after a while, they're able to, possibly like a fresh set of eyes. And according to what I've learned, there's more than 30,000 pages to the work they've done. So that's a lot of research. So hopefully we'll see some movement in this case. But according to things that I've seen that you've done, Brian, in your dream drawings and the work you've done, a lot of what I've researched is the things that you came up with. And there's no way that you could have known that because it hadn't happened yet.
Right. Well.
It's done are and some other things.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to add to that? I'll start going down the case.
Why don't you go ahead?
Okay. This is case number 137. It was requested to be open on, like I said again, August 20th, 2006. What it says is, my wife asked me to do an RV on this case, and I agreed. I was stationed in Korea in 1996 and did not hear about this case at all. I'm just reading some stuff here. We'll keep my translation. You can read it right there. It's not case related. We got to hang on 1 second too. Actually, I'm opening a folder because it says related dreams DD 4247. I'm waiting on my PC to open the folder. Right now, I can't even scroll down. Yeah, I can't scroll down. Deborah, do you want to? Anything else you want to say on this case while I'm waiting?
Well, this is a little different for me because I'm used to looking at the same person's cases. So I'm trying, guys. This is just a little different casework, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good now. Okay. RV sketch number 1 of August 20th, 2006. There's a lot of information up here, and I think since we have the time, let me go ahead and translate what's on top. I mean, not translate, but actually put word for word. I did a translation on the bottom. And if you guys are noticing, as I'm going through this stuff, I'm editing words. Okay, I'm editing some stuff. I type fast, and there's a lot of could be, should have, whatever stuff in there. So just let you know that's what we do here. The pictures don't change. Never. Okay, so let's go. It says, are you on that page, Deborah?
I don't have that page pulled up yet.
Okay.
I was waiting for
there's BM 1958. I'm sorry, that might be room.
What's the DD number you're looking at again right now, Brian?
It's remote 137. Now there's a DD attached if you want to open that one. It's DD 4247. Well, instead of me trying to figure out which words on how, I'll just read what the translations say right now. I'll add those later. A man of Mexican descent did this horrible crime. He has long black hair, brown eyes, and was born in 1958. His initials may be AR, but not too sure about that. He drives a red Ford truck. The second drawing says there's actually some type of building here. Looks like a stair. Actually, it's a staircase. The man that killed JonBenet has a book with him at the time. He read from the book. He entered the house through an open window and went to JonBenet's bedroom. He did not know her, but it was not on a. He did know her, but it was not on a personal basis. He was watching her for several weeks. He may have saw her at a beauty pageant she was in. In fact, this is how he may have taken notice of her. I'm not going to go into the details of the murder. Now remember, guys, I do not remember this. Okay, I'm reading it just like you would, but I'm reading a lot. I'm reading. I can't read very well right now. Easily ever. I'm not going into the details of the murder, but the man left immediately after he killed her. I did not see him writing any sort of ransom note. I do think he wanted to rob the home, but the death scared him. He left the same way he entered. And he entered, it looks like, through a window in the basement. What we're looking at here is, I believe, a basement. There's an arrows pointing to the location that he read the book. So I think that he killed her and was reading out of a book. Was that book the Bible? I don't know. The reason for the recent news events is not about finding the murder. It's about greed in a book to be named 10 years later that a man named Tracy was going to write. Mr. Tracy found a man named Mark Carr during a research project. Remember, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where I'm getting this from, but it's there. No, it's right above. Mr. Tracy found a man named Mark Carr during a research project he was doing, and plotted for years to frame this man as the killer, while knowing that he wasn't. Carr was the perfect man for the job because of his mental disorder and the ability to lie under pressure. He was sure that he could pass the polygraph test, and he would be right. However, the truth will come out, and this book will not be written. The police did not locate Carr on their own. In fact, Mr. Tracy has been slowly giving them clues pointing to Mr. Carr, just like he wanted. And 10 years after the murder of JonBenet, it's just not a coincidence. It was supposed to be a bestseller. Coincidence is spelled wrong. I don't even know. How do you spell coincidence, Deborah?
C-O-I-N.
Okay.
C-I-D-N-C-E.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is John Mark Carr. I believe that John Mark Carr was actually set up. This guy that's writing this book was actually the police. He actually was tipping the police off as to this mental patient, John Mark Carr, which is really a John Mark Carr that you just mentioned in your report. The next one says, it basically says that there are other people involved in this plot, and the media was set up. They will be sued for $100 million by the parents of JonBenet. I also know the following. The ransom note was written by JonBenet's mother, and the 118 is a letter in the police code. Okay? Remember, I don't know that I know there's a ransom note, but I don't remember any of this stuff. The parents have nothing to do with the death, but altered the crime scene after the murder. Something to do with them being very scared of what people they knew would think of them. And this is why they faked their ransom notes. A DNA test will prove not to be valid as planned. And it's a suggestion. It's very sad that JonBenet Ramsey was murdered, but the person that did this is still out here. Find him first. Okay, and then it says Related Dreams 4247. I have the folder open, and I will open up 4247. Okay, what it says here, it says almost certain. This is about a man named John Carr who was arrested in Thailand on suspicion on suspect of murder. The Colorado District Attorney is hiding something about new leads in the 10-year-old case. A man named AR is the real killer, and it says related info RV 113. Now that was on August 30th of 2006. So looking at that, I think that actually image is posted in the case file. I know I just saw it.
Yes, it is. It's posted a little bit further down after your second RV that you did on.
Okay. I know apparently tips have been submitted to the FBI. Nothing came of that. There was something else done on the 28th of the same month of August, It says, it's talking about my brain exploding, but it says a Mexican man named A.R. killed her, and the Colorado police think they know him, but are afraid to check into this. This is really badly written. But are afraid to check into this fear of what the media would say about them being wrong. Click space there. Please look into this. As the man plans on kidnapping 2 6-year-old girls in the next few months. Girls' names are Emily and Alexa, and live some 2,100 miles from each other. Sketch is number 2. Hold on one second. This man is not in prison. He's still at large, and I think recent media coverage about this case will spark the new killings. If you are the Colorado police, a confession letter along with hair sample will be mailed to you. Please check the DNA. It will prove to be JonBenet's killer. And this is what I'm talking about below, the other murders, which I have no idea happened or not. More details on the 2 murders. Each victim will come from wealthy families and will be taken from their schools. However, I did not see how. And there's more information here. And you go down to see August. Okay, 4247 is what you just discussed. That is in the case file. Okay, there's something on September 15th and going down. Then our show's disgusting, or we discussed back then. And what was done last night. This is the request that you sent for me. Your request letter's up at top. It says 51-year-old Spanish citizen Antonio Ramos. And that's all that's on the picture. I believe this is the person that I'm talking about earlier. There's a much more detailed picture of this guy. And I was looking, the initials AR do match.
Yep.
Okay? And I was a little bit shocked when I saw that, but that's what I have. What do you think? Do you see the picture?
Yes, I do see the picture.
Okay. So as far as I know, like it says, the parents did not have anything to do with the murder, but I believe that there was some type of reason why they altered the crime scene. I think that John Mark Carr was actually set up to be the killer by this guy writing a book on him. And I think the guy writing the book was the same person that was tipping off the FBI as far as him doing it. So I think all this is for fame and fortune for this guy writing the book. I do know that they flew him out and they said that was the killer he confessed to and whatever. But I also know that it did say that John Mark Carr was not the killer, and it said that way before I think DNA proved that he wasn't. So I do remember that. So what I would suggest if anybody is listening or could do anything about it, there is a man, a 51-year-old man, could be a Spanish descent and possibly a citizen of Spain, named Antonio Ramos, age 51 years old. If you've seen his picture or something, and he's wanted for something, I might want to question him on this case. And that's really all I have. Deborah, you want any comments on that? Kevin?
I would.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, why don't you go ahead? We haven't heard much from you tonight.
Okay. In the chat room, I've already posted a website. It's called www.reversespeech.com.
Reverse speech is something that was discovered by a gentleman, an Australian gentleman named John David Bates, back in the mid to early 90s, I believe. And I found him on the Red Velvet show back in the mid to early 90s. And basically, what they believe reverse speech is
And we're having problems hearing you. I'm having a problem, Kevin, and then people in chat don't hear you well either.
Okay, hold on a second.
He's good now.
Yeah, it's better.
He's good now. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. I got the mic real close to my mouth, so
Yeah, you sound fine now.
Too loud for me.
Go on, Kevin.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can start back from the beginning. There's a website. Speech.com. And what our speech is, what the left is that what is non-conscious volume is tagged.
All right, Kevin, we can't hear you again.
Yes, the people in chat say it's worse now.
Wow.
Now that I heard, clear.
Sorry.
You're fine now, Kevin. So whatever you did, just don't do it. Don't move.
Don't move. Oh boy. Testing 1, 2, 3. Pepper Charlie.
You sound like you're being abducted, Kevin.
What does an abduction sound like? I have
Now
no
you sound
idea.
fine right there. That sounds great.
Check. I just don't want to have to explain this for the third time. I'll give mine more try. Hello?
I hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Freeze.
Kevin, would you like me to call you at your house? Would that be better?
I don't know.
You sound fine now.
Well, it's just whenever I start explaining, and then when I get to the details of it, it gargles out, and I guess whatever works for you, Brian. I don't know.
Someone in chat says to take off the green dress. They think it's affecting your speech.
I'm hanging it up on Skype.
Okay.
Okay, Kevin. Tell everybody you got about 5 minutes.
Wow, that long? Basically, guys, if you go to the website that I posted in the chat room, I hope everybody can hear me pretty well. This is on my home telephone number, so there are some reverse speech analysts from JonBenet case when it first came out. And of course, JonBenet, Ramsey, and this is one thing. They did a lot of interviews, public interviews. Well, those interviews were recorded, and what they did with those recordings is that they backmatched it, and basically that means that they played the recordings backwards. And excuse me, what a reverse analyst speech person does is that they
Kevin,
okay.
are you able to speak louder?
Well, not that's as loud as I can speak.
That's good.
I got my hand right up to the telephone with cupped over my mouth. So.
Right there. They said they can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. If you go to the website and check it out, do a search for JonBenet Ramsey and listen to the reversals. Also check out the what is RF, what is reverse speech for RS for short, and go from there. I believe that reverse speech, there's definitely something to it, and I believe there needs to be a lot more research involved with this reverse speech stuff. John David Oates explains that he invented it to help him stop stuttering. And I guess some of it didn't work, but when he came across this thing he now calls reverse speech, he presented it to some government agency, the way the story goes. He explained this to Art Bell, and I was listening live when they did this over the radio, when they were talking to Art Bell about it. But anyways, he presented it to a government agency, and they asked him, how did he get a hold of this technology? Where did he get it? And he said, well, I discovered it. And they weren't very interested in it, because they were just wondering where it came from. I guess sometime later his office building was burnt to the ground, and they couldn't, I don't know if they figured out what the fire came from, but the fire department, which was about 10-15 minutes down the road, it took them about 30-45 minutes to respond to the fire. Also, he had he was recording something in his office, recording somebody, I guess, when the fire started. He left the recorder going, so when everybody left the building, the recorder picked up two people, and they don't know who they are, but they sounded like they were in SCBA gear, which is like what firefighters wear when they go into a burning building. A lot of strange things, but needless to say, he moved back to Australia, and there are reverse speech analysts, people that do this professionally. It's definitely something to look into. I thought I'd bring it up to Brian, and that's why I'm talking about it now. I'm not asking anybody to believe in this kind of stuff. That is for you to decide. Of course, it's your life. Just, if you want to be more aware about stuff like this, not telling you to believe it, just check it out.
Thank you, Kevin. Let me turn the mic down a little bit here. We have a section on my website called White Noise. You can get to that going brianstreams.com/white noise. That's by a gentleman named Michael Edwards. He's done a lot of work on, I guess you'd call it EVP. He has a radio, and he has it basically on a scan type of mode, and it just scans through, I guess, the AM frequency back and forth, and he uses some type of computer software or something. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but he's able to somehow get information from that. Basically, I think it's talking to spirits and ghosts and things like that, which is actually pretty scary if you believe in ghosts and stuff like that.
Hey Brian, one more thing.
Yeah.
The EVPs, they eerily sound like some of these reverse speech.
Right. Yeah. There is a difference between EVP and reverse speech, guys. There's one of them's backwards, and the other one I think is just scans open channels, open like an FM or I think it's AM.
Yeah, the AM with the.
Either way, guys, we got a minute left. I want to thank you, everybody, for listening tonight. Sorry, guys, I'm pretty tired and actually pretty angry about something, just seeing some stuff like that. If you don't want me to do some work, or if you want to just pull it later or whatever, please don't have me do it, okay? I'm trying to do as many as I can tonight, and this is actually a lot of work. So please, if you request something, we will get to it as soon as possible. We do have priorities. Missing children come first, regardless. Okay, I'm willing to help. Do anything that you want for free as always. So, but if we do some work for you and you don't like it, please let us know first before you go out and spread what you think and what you don't know. And like with this case, I'm willing to. I'll reopen it for you. I'm willing to help you in any way you can. But come to me. Tell somebody first before you want to go ahead and do something like that. Okay. I don't know what the cases we have next tomorrow. But I would have them up. I have one Amber Alert case posted right now, and I have another missing person case that's up. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Deborah, for stopping by and for being on the show. I think it sucked. But anyways, good night, guys.